It's the George Plaster Show. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown. And it's a shame it's taken this long to get an introduction for this Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer, Kelly Holcomb, along with young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It's a beautiful Tuesday in Nashville, Tennessee. From our studios at the Ford Ice Center, we all learned a valuable lesson last night when it comes to sports, and that is, no matter how certain we think we are, they play the game for a reason. And last night, a lot of us got made to look stupid because the Titans pulled it off. Those of you who are telling me, oh, I knew it all along, you're probably lying. I know I was wrong. I wasn't even close. I was like a lot of you who thought this is going to be a blowout and it's going to be ugly. With all of that in mind, we say hello to Terry McCormick, TitanInsider.com. And this Daily Titans update brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She wants to be your mortgage lady, and through the folks at USA Mortgage, that absolutely can happen. So dial her up, 615-969-4350. Terry, I never saw it coming.
I don't think very many people did, George. And I told you yesterday that if the Titans were going to have a chance to keep this close, they would have to run the football. They didn't. They'd have to win the turnover battle. They didn't. They'd have to win time of possession. I don't think they did that either. So go figure.
It's crazy. First of all, how did they come out of last night's game injury-wise?
Well, Vrabel didn't really say that anybody was really banged up. I know Sean Murphy-Bunting went out of the game for a little while and looked like he'd hyperextended his knee or something, but he came back in, finished up the game. I think the one injury that I saw reported was that Kyle Pecco suffered a calf injury that's going to keep him out for a while, and they were already kind of thin on the defensive line, so may have to make it a week or two with just kind of spitting baling wire and putting things together that way until Jeffrey Simmons can come back, obviously, in a couple of weeks.
Had to be a weird night for Ryan Tannehill. He was a Miami Dolphin to start his career. They eventually didn't want him, traded him here. He no longer appears to have a role in this franchise. And Terry, it sure looked to me at the end of last night that that's Will Levis's team.
Yeah, I think it already was, and I think it's going to be Will Levis's team for quite a while. You look at the way he played. I mean, and I think the best thing about it was he made two critical errors. The pick six, that was a terrible read, a terrible throw, and then the pitch where he misfired to Derrick Henry. And despite those two critical mistakes that led to 14 points, he had enough savvy and enough moxie and enough presence about him to be able to lead this team to two fourth-quarter drives after it appeared that everything was lost, and doing it really in the 2-minute offense, which they, at the end of the first half, seemed a little reluctant to let him go into when they decided to run the ball, punt it, then got it back, then all of a sudden went into hurry up and got a field goal in the last 38 seconds of the first half. So I think the leadership, the energy, the aggressiveness, and the way this kid plays, I think it's infectious, George. And I think if nothing else in this season, I think they've found a keeper at the quarterback position. And we've not been able to say that out of a draft pick in quite a long time.
Yeah, and he's got a little fire in his belly, which I think will play well with the fan base. Now it's Houston, and I guess today, help me, given that it's a short week to get ready for the Texans, they go right at it today, don't they?
Yeah, they'll start, players probably having a day off, maybe a shakeout, but then they'll ease back tomorrow, probably not have a later practice, not have a lot of physical work, but then, try to get things ramped up and going at least from the mental side, and then try as they go through the week on Thursday and Friday to have more normal type days. It's going to be interesting because on a couple of fronts. One, they're going to be in the Houston Oilers digs against the Texans, who, believe for all the world that those uniforms belong to them instead of the Adams family. And then it's going to be interesting to monitor what goes on with CJ Stroud through the week. He's in the concussion protocol, and being in the concussion protocol, who knows if he's going to be able to give it a go on Sunday and to match up against his fellow rookie in Will Levis.
Yeah, that's likely no more than a game time decision on Sunday. Terry, thank you as always. Good report. We'll do it again tomorrow.
All right, sounds good, George.
Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She wants to be your mortgage lady, and through the folks at USA Mortgage, that absolutely can happen. So dial her up, 615-969-4350. As we go to Murfreesboro and say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, I'll lay it out to you like this. I never saw it coming.
I don't either. Has people told you that they believed that would happen? Has some people told you that they thought that the Titans would? Oh, come on now. That's a straight up lie.
Hold on. I'm gonna run one by you. So I may have been somewhere last night where somebody bet on what is called the money line. In other words, one team just flat out to win.
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So the line on, if you took the Titans on the money line, just flat out to win, paid about 6.5 to 1.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Names will remain silent, but to those two people that did, congrats.
That was
You're smarter than
amazing
I
how
am.
they. Yeah, that was amazing what they did last night. Like Will Levis played really well. He did some bonehead things. The boneheadest thing that he did was when he threw the interception. Why are you trying to make the tackle in the end zone? I mean, what are we doing? I mean, like he got us. He made a good play. He got us. But like some of the things like Terry said did not hold true in that game. You have a game like that every now and then. I tell people all the time, Jim Moore used to put every Monday when we come back, he would put the keys to winning games, and he would have all these things down and have all the statistics of what we did. And when you have a defensive touchdown against you, your percentages of winning the game go way down. And they scored, they had 3 turnovers, and they scored 21 points off those 3 turnovers. You just don't win those games, George. And that was amazing watching that. They did.
If you had the Titans on the money line, about 6.5 to 1.
6.5 to 1, baby. Warm it up.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Billy, how are you?
I'm good.
You didn't see it coming either.
No, I changed the channel and watched DeVito dealing with the Giants.
Yeah,
and
that had a crazy ending.
That was another one.
That was another. I mean, who would have thought both those teams would have won last night and just scratch and claw? They probably won't make the playoffs, but that's the NFL.
Although, in fairness, on the Giants, they were the better team all night. It was a fluke that got Green Bay back in the game.
Yeah.
And the Giants deserved to win. They really did.
They did. They're better than their record, I think, too.
Might be under DeVito. They are. They got a little more. They've got a little bit of Will Levis in them. They got a little more fire with DeVito.
We'll see how long it. We saw with Levis. They got their film on him, and they were able to get a read on him. But DeVito's a good player. He was undrafted, right? He's from Jersey. They kept showing his family up there. So, but yeah,
he's staying at the house getting home cooked meals by his mom.
Kid's smart. He's smart.
And
you know he's catching some crap for it, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, apparently his dad has a whole tailgate spread before the game of Italians, basically Italian cuisine. Yeah. It's like it's something out of a movie that what's going on with DeVito right now. But yeah, George, we got other NFL pieces. Mahomes, we talked about him and his outburst on Sunday. Apparently he felt bad about it. He said, obviously, you don't want to react that way. I mean, I care. I love it. I love this game. Want to go out there and put everything on the line to win. But I regretted the way I acted toward Josh after the game because he had nothing to do with it. I'm glad he came out and said that, obviously.
Who is Josh? Is that the official?
Josh Allen. Josh Allen.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Because after the game, and I wanted to mention this, you know, Josh Allen was ready to shake his hand. And
he blew him off?
He he was just complaining. I think
I never saw it.
A couple of curse words out there after the call. So that was in a radio interview.
Want him to start with F?
Yeah, I think he said that a couple of times.
Looked like Mike Vrabel had one of those last night.
He did. And there's so much to get to. And I know we got Watson coming on, but man, that play, Guerrer, is he on the team if they lose? I mean, that's something they have not.
Well, they were speculating where I was, whether he would get a ride home.
Oh, special teams coordinator.
That was funny, too. Vrabel on the sideline says, "Don't give an F." He said, "I don't care. Don't go get that ball. Get out of the way."
F, by the way, is not spelled EFF.
Other news, we talked about Justin Herbert. He got hurt, got banged up again. He's going to have season-ending surgery to repair his fractured right index finger. So,
what are they waiting on to fire Brandon Staley?
Well, I was going to lead to that. They lost to the Broncos big time, and rumor has it that Staley's finished with the Chargers.
Good Lord, what are they waiting on?
And the owner's already looking at names for next year. So I don't know if they've kind of given up on this. Obviously, you're not going to admit giving up, but it looks like they have.
The backup, Easton Stick.
Who is he from? I've heard of that name, but where did he play? Was it Boise?
I want to say it was either North Dakota State or South Dakota State, one of those.
You're right. He was a good player.
Yeah, he was a good player.
Speaking of quarterbacks, it's official. Riley Leonard is headed to Notre Dame. I think we knew that was going to happen. This will be his final year of eligibility. I didn't know this, but his great-grandfather, James Curran, played at Notre Dame in the class of 1940. And apparently Leonard grew up a Notre Dame fan. His favorite movie is Rudy, even though he grew up in Alabama. So,
any quarterbacks going to Vandy, or are they going to go like single wing?
So that's how Notre Dame's going to play this deal. They're going to rent a guy for a year.
Yeah, I mean, why not? You got O-line, you got some pieces every year around them. I don't think it's an awful. Kentucky's doing it too. They got the kid from Georgia, Vandegrift. So, I mean, some programs have committed to it.
I'm a little suspect on this.
On the Notre Dame thing?
Well, I just think that's a program that ought to have more stability.
Yeah.
They ought to be able to go get a kid who's a stud in high school.
Stay there for 2-3 years.
Yeah, and quit acting like they're in the welfare line.
Yeah, there's certain programs, I think. There's so many quarterbacks out there, though. It's almost too easy to go grab that.
Free agency, baby. Free agency in college.
Speaking of free agency, Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, God.
There's another part of this deal that I could not believe. So he will defer $68 million of his annual $70 million salary.
Stop there. We're going to talk about it later.
Okay, it is ridiculous. He's basically making $2 million a year until.
I feel so bad for him. I think we're going to do a telethon. Give to Shohei.
It goes from 10.
Please do it now.
It goes from 10 years, $700 million to $2 million a year.
Before the young man starves, give to Shohei.
We need to start a GoFundMe.
God,
that's all I got.
Yeah, that's enough. Okay, after the break, Coach Watson Brown will join us. If he says he knew it was coming, don't believe it. Stay tuned.
He lies.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Well, it's not very often that a two-touchdown underdog in the NFL goes on the road and gets a win, but that's exactly what the Titans did last night in Miami. It's time for Watson Brown's Titans analysis with a little assist from Kelly Holcomb. Watson, how are you?
George, I'm doing great. I'm fantastic. That was a fun game to watch last night.
Oh, my God. Where did that come from? So I want to kind of get both of you guys to talk about what you think this will do for Will Levis. His first game-winning drive in the fourth quarter, pulls the chestnuts out of the fire, so to speak. Watson, let's start with you. What's the long-term benefit that comes out of this for him?
Well, I think we see that we've got it. We've got the guy. He's got the talent. He's got the pieces. And my statement's always been with guys like him, I'd rather try to coach one down than coach one up. And he is so competitive. He's very tough to the point he's over hyper, and he'll learn to calm down and be a little cooler about going about things and not lose that toughness and that competitive spirit. And and he's going to get that. That all these games like this, George. What I worried about back 3 or 4 weeks ago was, gosh, he's going to get killed, lose his confidence, and that really hadn't happened. He's had some days now when he's knocked down, but last night wasn't one of them. And they kind of played right to his hand a little bit. They just rushed forward and sit there and play quarters and a little bit of 3D, played all zone just about the whole game. And he just was able to sit there and pick them apart. The rush was pretty rough on him early, but as that game went on, I think they just wore down, and they never brought 5 or more that I remember. I don't even remember seeing it once. I didn't see it in the fourth quarter at all, and that does make it easier. But he's got it. There's no doubt. And every time something like this happens, it's just going to give him a little bit more confidence to me, George. And I think it's just a process. But again, when they first put him out there, and I think it was against the Falcons, we said they just took a deep breath and felt like their franchise ain't dead in the water. We've got our guy. Well, I think they saw it again last night with another deep breath and slapped hands and said, we're going to be okay around here. Now let's just build around him.
Kelly, you played quarterback in the NFL. You've had a moment like Will Levis experienced last night. What does that do for him?
Just gives you an ultimate amount of confidence, George, that you can do it. Even the guys that are drafted first, they've all got confidence, but there's always this deal where it's a different league. You're playing with grown men. You're getting paid a lot of money. Am I capable of succeeding in this league? You always have that. I don't care where you get drafted from. And the first game against Atlanta, he did some great things. He threw the ball really well, but that's against Atlanta. But you go down to Miami, and they've got a chance to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. And they've got this prolific offense, and nobody's giving them a chance. And he goes down there at the end of the game, and he pulls that game. He pulls a rabbit out of a hat. I mean, it's unbelievable. You see him right there. He's a fiery guy. You don't want to take that away from him, but obviously you've got to kind of curtail that a little bit, because when you get really emotional like that, and I always go back to what Nick Saban says. He always says this is an emotional game, but you can't play it emotionally. And some quarterbacks are like that, and I've never seen one that is just pumped up like that wins big. And I'm not saying he can't, but he's got to calm down. But last night, man, I was really impressed with him. I thought he played really, really well after that terrible interception he had in the first half, and they scored a touchdown. Then the worst thing I said earlier was he tried to go make the tackle and he was in the end zone. I mean, there's no need to do that, because it looked like it hurt him a little bit. It stunned him when you're going up against a 270, 280, 90-pound defensive lineman. You're trying to make the tackle, and he puts his shoulder pads down. I didn't like that about him, but he kept in the process. Even when he made that play to Derrick Henry, when he shuffled that pass, first off, I saw them do that at the beginning of the year. I don't like that play. I mean, if you're going to do it, go to the right where he's going to his strong hand. And I just not a big fan of that play. But Tim Kelly was talking to him. He said it was all my fault. But then there comes a point where it's time to go, and he forgot about that. You got to have some amnesia when you're talking to a quarterback. Bad things are going to happen, but you got to forget it. You got to go on to the next play, and he did last night. I was really impressed.
Watson, let's go to the defensive side. They got help early when Tyreek Hill got hurt, and that is a big deal because the Dolphins with him can really stretch a defense. But they got after it. They had pressure on Tua. I thought their secondary was really good. I was shocked.
Well, it was a Mike game. It was a Vrabel game. That's his MO. That's what he's done. When he's major underdogs, they show up. All of his teams have done that. They don't win them all. But what they did, you can go back and look at the game. You go back and watch them when they beat the Chiefs. I think it was in Nashville. And Tariq was on that team. And They did the same exact game plan last night that they did against the Chiefs when they beat them in Nashville. I think it was in Nashville. And what they did is they knew there were 2 linemen out. All of a sudden, within 9 plays, there's 3 linemen out. They lost their center in the first 9 plays of the game. So now they got 3 guys out. They know that they can rush you. They know they can get there. Don't have to sack him, but just get a lot of people around his face. He's not very big. And when you can do that, and they backed off. They made balls go underneath, and Tua wouldn't do it. Just exactly like Mahomes didn't do it that night. And we talked about it a bunch, and the Chiefs even went back and talked about we've got to learn and change our philosophies a little bit here. And they were wide open, scoring points everywhere, tons of yards, just like the Dolphins. And Mike and them make them go underneath. They're not going to give them the big plays and all the slap hand stuff. Beat me this way, and they couldn't do it and wouldn't do it. And I think the Dolphins will learn from it. But it fit perfect for them. They used the old game plan. I even read this morning where Tariq Hill said, Mike knows how to play us. I know where that statement came from, because when he lost to the Titans when they were really rolling back a few years back, and fantastic idea, fantastic carry out of it. The Titans are like anybody, but more the Titans than anybody I see in the NFL right now. When the Titans get pressure on the quarterback, they can play defense. When they don't look out, it's rough. And last night they had people around him, and he kept waiting for those deep balls to come open, and instead of just checking it down, and I'm telling you, it won the game. How many times you ever see an NFL team, a college team, and a high school team have 3 turnovers that gave up 3 scores? All 3 were just defensive scores. One was a defensive score. That wasn't a screen, but that's easy to have that pick off on that, because a quarterback can lose those linemen hanging around. They can lose them. And but that was kind of a circle route, as we called it in the old days, and to the running back. But I did not think that was a screen. And then we had 2 more. The fumble punt end up on the 5-yard line, and then the option play. Why in the world you're running an option with that guy is beyond me. But trying to run the zone option with him, just like Kelly said, to his left. So we give up 3 scores on the road to one of the better teams in the league and win the game. It just don't happen very much. But it was a Vrabel deal, and I promise he pulled the game plan out from the Kansas City Chiefs a few years back.
Kelly, Watson made the comment here just a minute ago. The Dolphins will learn from this, and it seems to me they're going to have no choice, because thus far, anybody they've gotten at home, they have just taken behind the woodshed and beat the hell out of. Yeah. All of a sudden, somebody was able to go toe-to-toe with them down there. And you've got to believe that the teams that are going to play Miami from here on in, this is going to be Exhibit A, and they're going to say to the Dolphins, we're going to show you the same stuff, and until you show the patience, you're going to get screwed.
George, it's a copycat league, and when somebody is successful against a team like Miami, everybody's going to start doing it. So, one thing that Butch Davis talked about was, if you don't piss out the fire, then people are going to keep doing it to you. And I've always heard that, and it came true last night. Like, if you take Tua off his first read, if you can make him hold the ball just for a second, and you allow your guys to get in his face and get pressure, he's a different guy. I mean, he didn't look very good running around either. I mean, we always know that he's just not that guy. He's kind of a rhythm thrower. Always been that way, even when he was at Alabama. But I've always heard that if you could take his first read, and I don't know, I mean, it's kind of what Coach said. They go back to the Kansas City deal where they're going to keep everything in front of him. And sometimes quarterbacks get impatient with that. Tom Moore used to always talk about take what the defense gives you. If they're going to give you that, throw it. Don't try to force something down the field. And it looked like he was looking for things down the field, and the Titans took his first read, maybe even second read away from him, made him hold the ball a little bit, and he's a different player.
Watson, does this turn out to be simply a moment in the sun in a bad year, or is this the beginning of something better, in your opinion?
No, I think they'll win quite a few of the last ones. I thought they would anyway because they've had I think they had 5 of the last 7 at home. And now they got Houston coming to town, George, with a quarterback, a really good player in concussion protocol. So, I mean, even if he were to play, he won't practice all week. So, I mean, they're catching them at a perfect time now. And so, no, I think they're going to win some games down the stretch, and which will be a good thing to keep them going. And just things fell for us last night. Even though we did everything we could to give it up, they still fell for us. Here's another great example. The field goal that was blocked by D'Amico Autry may have been the play of the game because we would have had to score 3 times with that field goal on the board. And the first thing that happens, George, when you lose players as a head coach, I can tell you this from years and years. When you lose players, the first place it affects you is special teams. That's when you start moving people around, and then your special teams get all messed up. They had 3 offensive linemen out last night. They got brand new players in there blocking for a field goal. And D'Amico pushed between 2 of them and got that big paw up. He's 6'6", 6'7". That may have been the biggest play of the game. I know it was a major momentum switcher. And from about that point on, we started hanging around them. I think that would have made it I think it would have made it 10-0. Then we go down and make it 7-7. And really and truthfully, from that point on, we got ourselves a ball game. And it's amazing how little things affect games. But I give Mike this credit. Because I'll bet you, we've been doing this, George. You and I have been doing this analysis thing on Mondays for what, 3? This will be the 4th year, I guess.
Yeah.
We've been doing this, and in those 4 years with Mike, and Mike was the coach all the 4 years. I can probably name twice that his football team didn't just lay it on the line, and that's the one thing I give Mike Vrabel. His toughness pops into his teams, his competitiveness and toughness to pop in, and it's just hard not to play hard. And they do it every week, and that's what won the game last night. We can talk about all the technical stuff you want. Just playing hard. We look like we wanted that game a lot more than Miami did. That's the way I was watching it on television. Even when we got down 2, we don't quit. We keep playing, and sooner or later, you're going to bust that losing streak when you just keep playing hard like that as a team. When your team quits, George, and don't play as hard as the game goes on, look out. You're fixing to get in real trouble. Mike's teams have yet to do that. He's caught a lot of grief. But I'm telling you, the one thing I keep seeing every week, I keep seeing a team lay it on the line.
Kelly, I know that we have a tendency to get really high when it gets good and really get low when it gets bad. And I'm certainly as guilty, if not more so than anybody, of playing those highs and lows. But what's your crystal ball tell you the rest of the year? Was this a moment in the sun, or is this the beginning of something a little better?
I think it's the beginning of something a little better, George. I really do. I think that they've totally bought in. Like even Will Levis was doing his interview after the game on the field, and the Tajay Spears kid came up and hugged him. I think he brings. I said it when he first went in there. I think he brings a little bit of juice. Now, I think Troy Aikman said this, not Troy Aikman, but I forget who was doing the game. Louis Riddick or somebody. Yeah, Orlovsky. He was talking about how he came out and he played really well against Atlanta, and then he was thinking, well, hey, maybe this is not as hard as it is, and then he's gone on this kind of a losing streak. So the NFL, National Football League, is very a humbling experience for you, and you can be sky high one week and then very depths of the lowest of lows the next week. So you got to kind of keep an even keel because you're not going to win every game. There's only been one team in the history of the National Football League to do that. So you've got to kind of be on an even keel. I think it's really I think if he gets some pieces around him, George, I was the biggest. I don't know if I was a naysayer, but I've been in that situation, and I know how hard it is to win in that league, and I know how hard it is to be a quarterback. So, while everybody was talking about this, I wanted to pump my brakes a little bit, and I'm still going to pump my brakes some, but he's showing stuff. And I will say this: if you got a guy that's competitive as he is, that's what you want at the quarterback position. I was that way. I didn't show it demonstratively like he has, but
what was that
was
word?
a big word for me. Yeah, that's a big word for me. But I didn't show it like you've got to be competitive. You got to hate losing, and he hates losing. And I was just really impressed last night when they got down 2 scores. He had the boo-boo on the option play, which I can't stand. But he came back. He didn't get his head in the sand. He got back up and he said, "Hey, let's go win this football game." And I will say this: the situational football that Miami displayed, not on the last drive, but the drive before that, because when it gets under 5 minutes and you go out of bounds, the clock stops.
Right.
Well, if they went down the field like in a minute 41 seconds doing their deal, huddling. They didn't even have to go fast. They were huddling because everybody got out of bounds. So if you're Mike McDaniel on the other side, you got to be like, we got to keep these guys in here and make them use some of their timeouts. But they didn't use any of their timeouts. And then when they got the ball back, they stopped them 3 times in a row and was able to preserve the time on the clock. And Miami helped them out. Tennessee went and won the game, but Miami helped them certainly a bunch.
Okay, Watson, I want to start this one with you. A friend of mine earlier today said, the punter kind of quietly in a game that had so many
Pretty good
tosses and turns, had a very good night. And being a smart aleck, I said, it's the easiest place to go find somebody. There are probably 200 unemployed punters out there who have been pretty darn good in college, who have never gotten the break. And so there are a bunch of them. It's easy to find one. That's my cynicism. Is that true or not true?
I think it's easy to find one. It's hard to pick the right one. I think you can find a bunch of them. Now you just gotta pick the right one of the 5 or 6 you find. And he's done a good job. I'm telling you. And a punter in the Titan style of play is so important. Mike is a field position guy. Eat clock, make the game. I don't care who he's playing. I don't care if he's 21 points better than who he's playing. He plays the same style every week. We're going to shorten this game. We're going to make them play plays as much as we can. We're going to run 2 out of every 3 plays till we have to do something different. And we're going to eat this clock. And then if we get stopped, we're going to punt it down the field. There's nothing wrong with punting. I think Mike is one of those. Just don't turn it over, punt it down the field, and we make them earn what they get. So a big piece of that is a kicker and a punter. Lord knows did we hit a kicker right. Gracious sakes. I mean, he's missed one all year long. And kicking the ball in the end zone, which they said he couldn't do most of the time. And then he's found another punter. So I would answer that by saying easy to find them, hard to pick the right one.
Interesting.
Real quick, George, I thought an underrated aspect of that game was Mike Vrabel electing to go for 2 there. Obviously, you would have had to do that, eventually, or you could tie it, right? Just elect to, that was a winning decision, a winning play that, I feel like you haven't seen enough of that this year. Now, again, you got a young quarterback, and
you're talking about from them,
from the Titans overall.
Okay. And yet, I'll say this, and I'd be curious what they think. I don't get it. I know that I'm old-fashioned analytics and blah, 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 and it worked, but I don't get it.
Well, you're going to pick one of the 2 to go for 2. That's what you're going to do. You're going to pick one of the 2 to go for 2. And the good thing by picking if you go for the first one and you make it, it puts the heat on the other dudes, and it eases yours because now, we score, we win. We hold them and score, we win. And I'm going to add to that. When that happened and we knock it to 6, And that's supposed to be as good offense. And I know they got Hill out, and I know they got 3 offensive linemen out. But how about going and winning the game?
Oh, they went very conservative.
You can't run the ball and run out the clock. The Titans had 3 timeouts. Go win the game because the Titans are going up down the field on you. And so I was very shocked by the play calling by the head coach at the end of that game. Very shocked by the way they went about that. And but anyway, it's easy to sit on Mondays and second guess. And believe me, I've blown enough of play calls myself, so it's easy for me to say that. But I do think that the Titans, by the way they went for 2, it did put the pressure on the Dolphins, because they know if they score, they're going to beat us.
Kelly, take it and go.
Well, I thought I'm like you, George. I was like, why are we doing this? And then I understood. I'm thinking to myself, well, if they do get it, or if they don't get it, they're still in the game. The one that bothers me so bad is when you're down by 15. You're down by 15, they score, and they immediately want to go for 2. Well, if you don't make it, now you got to score twice. I don't understand why you don't keep the game going, Coach. I mean, you were a coach. You explained that to me. Like, why do you not keep the game going? Like, if you're down by 15, you score, then you kick the field goal. Now you're down by 8. And then if we score again, now you got to make the 2-point conversion. But all these coaches want to go for 2 at the beginning. And if you don't get it, then now you got to score twice again. I've never understood that. Now, after thinking about that last night, I did understand why Mike Vrabel did that, because even if they don't get it, they're still in the game because they can score another touchdown, because they were only down by 13. So they can score another touchdown and still get a 2-point conversion. So I understood that one. I just don't get the one where you're down by 15. And I've never understood that. Like, you want to keep playing, but once you go for 2 and you don't make it, you've totally taken yourself out of the game.
Watson, I'll say this to end it. It looks a lot smarter if you make it.
Yeah, I've been a DA a bunch of times in my life because I didn't make it. So, but he's dead right. You don't, as long as it's a 1-score game. So by going for 2 last night and didn't make it, it's still a 1-score game. And you just got to make the 2 the second time to tie the game. So Kelly's dead on. When you're down 15, you do not do that, because you don't make it, it's a 2-score game. Now you've made it a lot easier on the opponent. And so he's dead right about that. That's a kiss of death when you go for 2 in that situation.
Watson, thank you. I don't know if you heard the open of the show, but Kelly's now in it, so all is well in the world.
Oh, well, congratulations, Kelly. I don't know how you pulled that off. I don't know if you got him up against the wall or what you did, but congratulations, man.
Hey, we've always heard that the wheels of justice move very slowly, and in this case, that's what happened.
Oh, man.
I've been there, done that, Kelly, so congratulations, bud.
Watson, take care. We'll talk to you again next week.
Okay, guys. See y'all.
We'll go to the break, and when we come back, you will hear from Titans coach Mike Vrabel, and my guess is, at least for 24 hours, he ought to be a pretty happy camper.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
So none of us saw coming, for the most part, what went on last night in Miami. As most of you know, I predicted 38-14. I thought it would be an absolute butt kicking. I was wrong. It's the beauty of sports in that no matter how certain we may be of where we stand, in particular in the NFL, you never know. Here's Mike Vrabel.
Mike, when you've got a rookie quarterback who has a pick six, a fumble in the fourth quarter, shakes it off, and helps drive you to two touchdowns to win a game on the road, prime time, what does that say about Will?
Well, really appreciate, his level of competitiveness. We've seen that, and through the college, process and the evaluation and, his opportunities here and, whether it's going after the fumble in Indianapolis or, scrambling and, appreciate the level of competitiveness and, just realizing that, those things that happen that maybe are negative aren't going to have any impact going forward. What's the situation require? What's the call? Where am I going with my read and my progression on this particular play? So, being able to process that and move ahead is critical.
How contagious is his energy and fire, and how important is it to maybe have that from that position, especially with the team where your team is?
Well, I think the energy and fire.
Never give up, never back down.
Is critical throughout, the roster and the staff and the organization, and just being able to to do that. I think that, leadership from the quarterback position is always going to be, important. It's always going to be critical. Their ability to, rally and inspire a football team, obviously it's a critical position. So, I think, he'll continue to do that in his own particular way.
I think the physicality you played with early maybe helped set the tone for last night.
Oh, there was a lot of great individual efforts that probably, go unnoticed. A defense that's sitting on the sidelines that, probably isn't planning on going out for an extra point on the pick six. We got guys that are, battling to try to block an extra point, whether it's Nico or Weave or Arden, I think set the tone, and then ultimately blocking the next field goal, Danico or Kayvon and sprinting 40 yards to tackle the running back on the 2-yard line in the red zone, which then forced them to run another snap, which they fumbled and we recovered. Danico at the end of the game, coming out of the stack and tackling, Ashane there on the side, which kept him in bounds and kept the clock running. Those things probably go unnoticed, and there's a lot of other ones as well. But those are the ones that stick out in my mind. So, you have to play this game, with a demeanor, with an attitude, with a willingness to play as hard as you possibly can, and not, and not think about, well, can I make the play or can I get there? You're going with the intent to get there.
Going into that game, it's something that you wanted to do as far as getting Tajay involved in the passing game, or was that just something that just kind of
Well,
evolved?
I think, we try, to get Tajay the ball, try to get Derek the ball, try to get Hop the ball, try to get Traylon and Chig. I mean, it's just kind of sometimes the way that the game goes, and we try to get him there, the ball backed up, and that didn't go very well. Liked some of the matchups. I thought that the catch on third down, was huge. Didn't convert, but and they, Tajay caught it, fumbled, got out of bounds, but the screen there at the end, what was a big play to be able to go back to that and hit a screen to Tajay. So again, he's helped us, trying to get some conversions, and you saw that Will got it out of his hand and got it to Tajay, and he, cut up and got a first down, and that's, sometimes you have to do that and let players make a play as opposed to throwing it past the sticks and just saying, let's get the ball out of our hands and get it to a playmaker and see if they can tackle them.
He's leading the all rookie running backs in yards from scrimmage. Is this usage, is that kind of what you envisioned when you guys selected him?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Again, having him be able to go in there in training camp and protect, I think, was the first thing. They have to, be comfortable with that. There you go. That's okay. Feliz Navidad. Spirit. No, you didn't. But I think, you start there so that you don't always have to, you can't free release him every time he's in there. That doesn't work, right? There, you have to stand in there and protect. And he showed that. I think he's worked hard at understanding route craft and getting open and being able to, done a nice job catching the football. So, yeah, I mean, I think that the role that he's in now is vision. Sometimes expands based on, the game and where we're at.
So I think you could tell that they won last night. Feliz Navidad.
Yes.
And while we're at it, a little Mele Kaliki Maka.
He's funny.
Well, he's funnier when they win.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of Belichick in him, though. He's not as bad as Bill, but he's not going to give you much.
He's the younger version of Belichick. 10 years down the road, he may be a lot closer to Belichick.
We're moving on to Cincinnati.
Moving on.
We're on to Cincinnati. Okay, after the break, we're going to move on to stat of the day. I don't remember. Are we 0 for 1 this week?
Yes.
But we've been holding our own. I'm predicting victory today in a shocking display of optimism. And then after that, we'll go to Knoxville. Tony Basilio, nice enough to allow us to kind of shuffle the deck today, get to the Titans victory, which none of you, including me, saw coming. Then we'll go to Knoxville. We'll talk with Tony. A lot of things going on up there as well. So stay with us.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
All right, I'm here with my buddy Chip Ward from Lincoln Home Loans. And Chip, it's football season, and it's also, it feels like it's moving season every time of the year, especially here in Nashville. Tell us about your business, Chip, and kind of introduce people to who you are and what you do here in the Nashville area.
Well, you're exactly right, Billy. It is definitely moving season, as it is most times, especially right here after Labor Day. Kids are back in school, and people are starting to think they want to get settled in before the holidays. And so what we are doing is right now we are getting a lot of people pre-approved for home loans. Inventory has ticked up a little bit. You know, it has been down, but it's rebounding a little bit. And right now is a good time to buy.
Chip, real quick before I let you go, tell people how they can reach you. And if someone is interested in your business, how would they reach out to you?
Well, sure. At Lincoln Home Loans, you can reach me at 615-500-7579. My URL for my application page is chipward.net, and my email address is simply chip@chipward.net. And so I'd love to hear from anybody. I can answer any questions about the whole home buying and financing process.
Top of the hour on a Tuesday, talking Tennessee with Tony Basilio. A little football, a little basketball, maybe a little Titans, who knows. But first, stat of the day, brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards out in Shelbyville. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday, and on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call, 931-492-4304. All right, let's see what Matthew's got cooked up today. We're going a little Titans theme here. The Titans are the largest NFL underdog to win a game this season, plus 13.5 last night. Before last night, what NFL team was the largest underdog to win a game this season?
Oh, gosh.
I'll have to say the Broncos. Was it the Broncos? You know, after they got trounced by the Dolphins, I think they were a pretty big underdog, and then they've won a bunch of games in a row. So I might have to say them.
Okay. Wow. So, I mean, I was never even given a shot.
No, you get a shot.
I mean, can he and I not converse on these things before you just gong
Yeah,
us?
Billy. I mean, be professional, dude. Get in the office before 5 minutes before we go on there. Let's go.
Wow, you knew that one was coming.
Eventually.
He's been waiting to do that one. I mean, do you think that'll help you get this thing in Knoxville?
Who knows?
Okay, let's think this one through. Arizona's first win of the year was against whom? Because that might be where we need to be going.
You may be right, George. I don't know. I just thought the Broncos, when they were on their losing streak, they were pretty bad.
Oh,
You
yeah.
may be
Look,
right,
I mean,
though.
where you were going, that made a lot of sense. I'm going to say it's Arizona. Let's see. Ah, yeah.
There you go.
That's right.
Boom.
Yes. That
And
was
didn't they
not
beat
Dak-
Dallas?
Yes, that was not Dak's finest moment.
No.
No.
That was before
He had
Cowboys.
a bunch of turnovers in that game. So, okay, I feel like for the purposes of if you're keeping score at home, and let's hope you're not, we get half a point for that. But I say we get 3/4 of a point because Kelly, he unprofessionally gonged you before it was proper.
I just felt like bringing it out again. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're starting to show some venom for Kelly as he takes these shots at you. You now are willing to.
I've got to get creative with them.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I really wish he would come back because I don't like somebody that doesn't talk back with me. So, like, what are you doing, Billy? Like, grow up, dude. Like, grow a pair. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, let's go to Knoxville.
Take up for yourself, Billy. Were you the only child, or how many brothers do you have? Did they beat you up all the time?
Kelly, shut your mouth.
How many
gracious.
brothers and sisters do you have?
I got 10.
Okay, so there's your answer, Kelly.
And you were the run of the litter, obviously.
Tony, get Kelly to shut up, can you?
I can't, man. He's my guy. He's on the roll today.
Oh, he's been on a roll.
Hey,
for some time.
Tony, I'm on the opener, man. The life is good. I'm on the opener now. You hadn't seen it? You hadn't been able to see it?
Let's show it to him. I mean, that is a big moment. Can we do that?
Okay, here we go, Tony.
It's the George Plaster Show. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown. And it's a shame it's taken this long to get an introduction for this Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer, Kelly Holcomb, along with young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
I got all kinds of time for that.
That is the voice of the legendary Chuck Morgan, former Grand Ole Opry announcer who has been for the last 39, 40 years the PA voice of the Texas Rangers.
That is fantastic. It pays to know people, Georgie.
It does. So, just out of curiosity, did you ever defer $68 million of your contract with any radio station?
I thought about it. There was a time I thought of. I like how the Dodgers still won't win, George, even though they've done that.
You know what? If their starting pitching isn't any better than it has been, I've got to chuckle. They're not going to win. Pitching matters.
I heard they might get that Yamamoto kid.
Yeah, let's hope not.
Their one World Series, guys, that mattered is that 1988 Kirk Gibson. They haven't won a World Series since then, and I don't think that's accidental. I just don't think you can buy pennants. I think the Braves have shown the way down through the years. So the gold standard, man.
I wish you were right.
Grow your players.
By the way, you're not a Philadelphia. Are you a Philadelphia Flyer fan?
See that right behind you there? Absolutely.
Okay, they're here.
Flyers.
They're here tonight.
I know that.
Yeah, I'll be there.
If I wasn't working, if that was a weekend game, I'd be there because my Flyers are playing good hockey right now, even though they're not supposed to be.
Yeah, they have done very well early. So Okay, when last we checked in on Tennessee, and it was right before all the tornado stuff moved in here
Yeah.
Saturday, they had a really good come-from-behind victory against Illinois.
Yes.
It's another one of these pieces that says, hey, on a given whatever, Saturday, Monday, Tennessee can play with the big boys.
Not only that, but they are, the Vols are going to get better. They've got a guy, Freddie DeLeon, who you haven't seen, who is going to play some backup point guard for him. He's a great finisher around the rim. He was thought to be a one-and-done guy. He's been slowed by, and he got there last winter, but he's been slowed by plantar fasciitis, which is extremely painful. I can't imagine going out there and trying to play with that. But at any rate, when he was on the court earlier in the season, he looked like a shell of a guy you would expect that from. They're going to reintroduce him as we go. Zakai Ziegler is back sooner from that injury than maybe anybody ever could have imagined. With each game, he becomes a little better and more online. And then you have, you showed Dalton Connect, but he went out the other day and played with 101-degree fever and had 23 easy points. So this team under the Rick Barnes era has the highest upside in terms of what they can do postseason since he's been here. And I think a big reason for that, George, is they've got a guy now that they can hand the ball to, and Barnes is actually getting out of the way. The other day, they gave it to him on 4 straight possessions and basically cleared the floor and let him go, which is unheard of here.
Yeah. So you'll like the way I phrase this question. How did Dalton connect with Tennessee? Thank you.
Well, it's interesting. The backstory is that he should be at Colorado. And Tad Boyle, a guy that I got to know when he was on Jerry Green's staff, who we have on the show from time to time, was honest with him in recruiting when he was in junior college before he went to Northern Colorado. And he said, Dalton, he said, I like you, but there's a guy that we like a little more. And Dalton said, well, I'll show you. I'm just going to go over here to Northern Colorado, and then I'm going to go play major college basketball, and it ain't going to involve you. So when he got into the Tennessee sweepstakes, it was curious that Rick Barnes took him because the recruiting world was like, you're taking an offense-only player. I understand the staff kind of fibbed around to Barnes a little bit and didn't paint the full picture of what they were getting here because they're getting a guy that just isn't going to play defense. But he's so talented, George, in today's college basketball game that anybody would have him. And I give Barnes a lot of credit because generally he's going to feud with the no defense guys.
Oh, yeah.
He ain't feuding with this guy. This guy's too talented on offense.
When it's all said and done, and I know there are people out there, naysayers going, yeah, but when he gets to March, it never happens.
Right.
Blah, blah. Can they get close to a national title?
Oh, well, yeah. If they're healthy in March, they'll be up there as one of the picks, I would think. And look, I'm a guy that, we make fun of Barnes on the show and all that stuff, but you have to appreciate the consistency and his longevity. And one would think if you get enough bites at the apple, and at Tennessee, he's had Final Four caliber teams. I mean, he's gone on his 10th year. He's had Final Four caliber teams, or his 9th year anyway. I guess this is his 9th season. 7 of the 9 years, 6 of the 9 pretty easily. And they haven't gotten to an Elite 8 yet, which is kind of remarkable. So in my mind, sooner or later, it's going to happen. You continue to get there, sooner or later, it'll happen for you.
Yeah. So there are Tennessee fans out there, there's this old saying, you can't tell the players without a scorecard. Well, it's never been more true than it is right now in transfer portal. Kind of give people the news of who are they losing, who are they getting, and what's the, is it equal? Is it better? What do you think it is so far?
It's incomplete. The way I look at this is my analogy for it is we're in a baseball game and we're in about the 3rd inning for the Vols. And the reason I say the 3rd inning, it's a It's a 4-week process. I'm going to cut a week off there for the holidays because most kids, when they go home around the holidays, want to spend time with their family, spend time at home, whatever it is. At the end of the day, Tennessee's got an opportunity to make their team better. They've got a kid named Vrabel that just was on campus yesterday. Kid from Tulane who had a ton of catches, 6'5", can catch the ball in traffic. Tennessee needs a difference maker there. They need some help at tight end. They need 2 linebackers. They need difference maker at linebacker. They could use a veteran safety. They could use some help there. There are need areas on the football team. Probably use another offensive lineman. Need a rush end. Right now, it's just incomplete, and it's been slow going for them. And fans are, a little panicked. And I'm a little worried about it, but I'm not tremendously worried because, George, you're dealing with a lot of money here at the University of Tennessee. And sooner or later, you're going to find somebody that'll take your money. It might not be your first choice.
Yeah.
It might not be your second choice. But sooner or later at these positions, and what you hope is, because it's all a crapshoot anyway, you hope to get lucky. So you want to be a better football team than you were before this process started. The other thing that people look at is, well, you lost all these people they're losing a bunch of defensive backs that literally can't play. I mean, these are veteran guys that were out there on the field at the end of the year, and everybody went out there and had a career day against these guys.
So I'm guessing you get asked this a lot in your talk show life.
Yeah.
When we talk about Tennessee and NIL, it is very obvious that they had their stuff together quicker than most schools did when all this went down.
Yeah.
What's the number of dollars that Tennessee football has at its what's the word?
Disposal.
Disposal. What do they have in
Here's what I hear.
NIL to spend?
Nobody's going to answer that, okay? And you know that, and I know that.
Yes.
The belief, based on the people I've talked to, is if you want to aspire to make the playoffs, okay, your payroll is going to cost somewhere between $15 and $20 million per year. Last week, a couple days after I was on with you, Tennessee was turned down by a 5-star offensive tackle who shocked the world, went to Colorado. I believe Tennessee's offer was, I'm doing the math in my head here, it was $2.3 million for 3 years. Whatever that means to you. That's what a blindside, because they were going to eventually shift that kid to a blindside tackle to protect Nico. That's where we are right now. Very quickly, the kid from Washington State, that quarterback out there, the Ward kid, who, by the way, started in the 1AA division, went to Washington State, was extremely successful, and had, the report is 10 schools have offered him north of $1 million a year to play quarterback. Look, in Kelly's day, a quarterback like Kelly that went to middle and lit it up would have been given an opportunity. He would have Division I high-level coaches calling him,
sure, saying,
son, come help me. And a guy of Kelly's stature back then, today, probably would get north of $500,000 to $750,000 to play college football. And a young Kelly would have taken it.
And what would Coach Donnelly have said?
Good luck to you.
I think you're making the biggest mistake of your life, son, but go ahead and run your life. It doesn't matter to me. That's what you said. I went up there one time because I was going to play. I was a baseball player too. So I was going, and I'd met with Coach Peterson, and we had talked about playing baseball, and Coach Donnelly sat me down and he told me the story of Mike Caldwell. Mike Caldwell is a defensive coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Great
now.
guy. Yep.
Yeah, and
Great
he
Eagle.
went up there and he kept asking Coach Peterson. He said, Coach Peterson, how is Zeke doing? That's his nickname. He said, how is Zeke doing? He said, he's doing great, Coach. He said, how's he hitting? He said, Coach Peterson never would tell him. He said, I want to know how he's hitting. Coach, he's like 2 for 50. He said, he better be at spring practice tomorrow then. So he brought me up into his office and he told me, Kelly, he said, you can be mediocre at both of them or you can be really good at one of them. And I think you got a chance at this one. But if you want to go do it, I'm not promising you anything, son, because we're not going to hold the job for you. And that made my decision for me.
Yes.
Everybody wants to play,
Everybody wants to play.
Yeah. And
So-
Tennessee's casting a wide net, George, like they're involved or were early on with a cornerback, CB, from Rhode Island, all the way to Division I guys, a guy from Tulane. There's a guy from UCLA they're kicking the tires on, a safety. And this stuff changes by the second.
Oh,
The
I
minute
believe it.
I write something in my blog, the next day I get up and I go, why is that in there? It's antiquated. But, the listeners understand and people understand. I'm just a guy doing my best.
Sure.
And so I'm trying to stay on it, but it's, it's like trying to count raindrops or something.
So Tony, while you've been broadcasting, how pissed is Vols Nation that the Crimson Tide is back in the college football playoffs?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of Tennessee fans give a lot of credit to Nick Saban because the team we saw, there was no way in hell that team was making a playoff.
Unbelievable.
Because really, that's a 9-3 team.
Yeah.
And they figured out a way to figure it out. They hid that deficiency at offensive tackle. Whatever they did, I don't know how they did that.
It has to be coaching.
It's all coaching. Yeah, this year you're not out talenting people. Yeah.
It's got to be his best. Don't you think it's his best coaching job he's ever done?
I mean, if he doesn't think that, I'll tell you this: when David Pollock brashly looked across from him when they were on that set of ESPN last year, which, by the way, was David Pollock's last act on ESPN.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's cause and effect. I'm not saying, but after that, he was anyway. So when he did that, you had to know that Nick Saban, in the back of his mind, in that sick mind of his, was thinking, if it's the last thing I do, I'm getting that Georgia team this year. If it's the last thing I do.
There was a Bunsen burner going off in his butt.
There is no doubt. If George, if he was 30 years younger and he could have gotten his hands on Pollock, they'd have been wrestling around on the floor.
There's some ratings for you.
Well, that was David Pollock's last move before Pat McAfee. They offered him $85 million to let go of everybody on ESPN. Crazy.
And I don't get it. I'm sorry. I know the bros. I don't get Pat McAfee, and I never want to get Pat McAfee.
You like that tank top he wears, Tony?
Oh, God, man. He is cringe-worthy. Pat McAfee and the coach down there with the Miami Dolphins ought to get a room. That guy wearing his capris on the sidelines. I love the second to last drive, George, last night. Let's have a 7-second drive. We have a 7-point lead. Let's take 7 seconds off the clock. I mean, what in the world?
Wow. He should have been on during the 2 o'clock.
Hey, Kelly, in your day, if a head coach would have dressed like that, what would guys have said? I mean, that dude, he's wearing capri pants. I mean, what in the world?
I don't know what to think about him, man. My wife even makes fun of it. I just don't know what to think about him, man. Like you're absolutely right. Like when he talks to the camera, he looks like he sounds like he's stoned. I'm sorry. But then he's obviously a good offensive mind, man. He obviously is. Like what he's wearing, like capris on the sideline. I'm waiting for him to take his shoes off and just go barefooted.
He's hiked up. I mean, I'm waiting for him to go like into one of those, like a guy you'd see in one of those department stores, like Lululemon or something. I mean,
Lululemon, absolutely.
What are we doing?
Wow, that is awesome. Hey, my last thing is this. You know, we get UT going to the Citrus Bowl. Of course, when you find out they're going to the Citrus Bowl, you know what the first thing in our minds are thinking. You know what I'm saying? But
Steve Spurrier to toss the coin.
Oh,
I think that would be a good promotion to do that. But how many guys are going to play this, or how many of these prima donnas are going to set this one out? Do we know?
They've told them they've got till Friday. They're expecting some opt-outs. Obviously, they've already had some guys go into the portal. Right now, if the guys that went into the portal, if a couple of the veteran DBs don't come out of the portal, they're going to start mostly kids in the secondary. And I asked today on the show, how will we know how they've played? A good passing day for Iowa is 150 yards. I could go out there and play safety in the Citrus Bowl, and I was terrible in my peak years, let alone in my mid 50s. So, I just think that there's a chance that Joe Milton opts out. I'll be honest with you guys. I think they're kind of encouraging him to do that because they'd like to begin the Nico time. But I don't know that he's getting it. And if they don't spell it out for him, and I mean spell it out for him, I don't know that he's going to get it. They've kind of tried to, kind of walk around it. And Joe, these guys, you're not going to have a big passing day, and it's not. And you might be better served getting ready for because he accepted yesterday or a couple days ago. Let's see, what is today? Yesterday or Sunday, he accepted Senior Bowl invitation, which is a great opportunity for him to go down there and change the narrative. Guys go there, but if you go to the bowl game and you're not working on the drops that the pros want to see from you, and you go down there after only a couple and a half weeks versus 5.5 weeks of practice, it would be, if I were him and I was advising him, our fan base wants to see him go too, which is kind of sad, Kelly. But what we've got working here, George, is in my 8 days of being on the air since the Peach Bowl, since the Citrus Bowl was announced, because of the opponent and because of Joe Milton fatigue, we've talked about the bowl game for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because people are
I believe that. Yeah.
Iowa is so bad, guys. They are so boring. I mean, well, how much can you say about those guys choose not to play offense, George? It's like their badge of honor.
I've watched them, and that quarterback can't hit the broad side of the barn.
No.
King, what's his last name?
I don't even know.
It's King something.
I call him King Aim.
Yeah, well, it's bad. It's bad. So okay, the fan base wants Joe Milton to go. They wanted Tim Banks to go. That didn't happen. By the way, did he turn Middle down?
No way. No way.
Well, no, that's what I heard. That's what I heard through the grapevine, that he turned it down.
That would shock me. That would shock me.
It would shock me too after what you were saying. Like when you talked about what you were talking about, it made me feel really bad. And then Derek Mason wasn't even in the picture. And then I hear that I don't know how he got into the picture. I kind of do, but I'm not going to say that on the air. But he came from out of nowhere. He came from out of nowhere. So I don't know. I'm just glad after you told me about Tim Banks, I'm glad that we didn't go down that route.
We talked about it on the air, and I talked with a couple of my recruiting people on the air, and we were just very much admiring the fact that he got that far in that gig, because he's not known as being a recruiter. And in this day and age, you want to do a job like that, you better be beating the bushes at Middle Tennessee. You better get off the bus recruiting. And I don't know if Mason's that guy either. But Mason at least has had a head coaching job, and at least has done it at a pretty high level. And I don't think he was awful at Vanderbilt.
No, he had some good moments. He had some bad moments. And then he allowed Sarah Fuller, that buffoonery at the end, where we turned her into a hero because she could kick a ball, 14 feet. It just blows my mind.
You could say at Vanderbilt football, I don't know if you'd say they're dead right now, but you could say he damn near at least started that.
That's your intern there.
Well, I feel for Vanderbilt. I like the fact that Vandy was able to get that Vandergrift guy, and they got a pretty good player out of the state of Texas the other day in the portal. At least it shows they're making an effort, to play in this league and try to get some guys and stay watchable. because that club we saw, to your point, Billy, in Neyland Stadium at the end of the year. I mean, we've seen some bad Southeastern Conference teams. We saw that South Carolina team that didn't win a game. I think it was like in the 99, 2000 era, somewhere like that, when they bottomed out. Boy, that Vanderbilt team was as bad looking on the field maybe as I've ever remember from a Southeastern Conference team. They didn't have any players.
Tell
George, I got
people
one
how.
more.
Oh, go ahead.
George, I got one
we're
more.
now officially in bonus coverage.
Love it,
I
man.
know we
Love
are.
bonus
Yes,
coverage.
I just want to know this. I know times change.
Yeah.
And you got and I don't know how much you keep up with this, but I'm sure you do because you're a Tennessee guy. But the Tennessee women's basketball team, is that ever going to get to the elevation of what Pat Summitt had it at? Because my man Rick Insel the other day beats UT, and I'm sure he's been trying to do that for the past 20 years, and he finally got it done the other day. So is it just? I know that middle is pretty good. They've got a bunch of foreign girls on there that are pretty good. They got a big Russian girl that's really good. She's learning how to play the game of basketball. But do you ever see UT being at the elevation that they were with Pat Summitt again?
Not under this current coach. No way.
Yeah.
Here's the issue with Tennessee women's basketball. They have decided to do the Alabama football deal when Bear Bryant passed away.
Yeah.
And until you decide I'm going to go get the best coach, instead of the best coach from our alma mater, you're going to flail around. And I mean, look, in all fairness to Kelly Harper, her team was thought to be like an Elite 8 level team this year. And they've been without their best player, Rakia Jackson. But you should not look the way they've looked. I mean, they played Ohio State and couldn't get the ball over midcourt. I mean, they just kept turning the freaking thing over. The game against Middle was unreal. Eastern Kentucky the other day had them on the ropes for a hot minute. They were in the game in the fourth quarter. I mean, it's not happening. The good news for her, though, this is what I hear. Danny White doesn't want to fool with hiring a women's basketball coach. So the good news for her is she can just go do her thing. And it's amazing how small the crowds are that they play before now. Because when Pat had it going, they had season ticket holders. They had, they would draw 18, 20,000 for some games. I mean, it was real and rocking and rolling right now. And now most nights, even for pretty good opponents, most nights they're going to play before a good crowd's 8,000, 9,000, maybe 10,000 every once in a while. I mean, it's a different day now in terms of crowd. And I don't know about expectation. I can't speak to that. But I just don't think that Danny White wants to get involved because that's a real political deal up here. That Lady Vol position, if we can talk openly, why would you want to wade into that? You're not making money with it. You're not going to make money with it. So why would you? I mean, if you're from his perspective, why spend political capital on that?
This is a good point from Fred here. There just wasn't much competition across the country in women's basketball at that time.
That's exactly right. There were like 5 or 6 programs. That's right.
The game has changed so much. The talent level of some of these teams.
Hey, guys, that Caitlin Clark, when she's on, I'm watching that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's fun.
Can flat out play. The one thing we did on the Iowa football game was a guy we had, and the Iowa's football team is so bad, I ended up talking to him about other things, truthfully. And we got into Caitlin Clark, and he said, you know what? He said, Caitlin Clark, in my 20 or so years of being here, is literally the rock star of sports. For all the NFL guys we've had come through here, some NBA guys we've had, everybody stops when Caitlin Clark walks by. Little boys walk up to her and want her autograph. Everybody thinks this gal is, all that in a bag of chips. And here's where we are. The business of sport is such for these young ladies in college that it almost behooves them to stay in college and not go to that WNBA. Her earning power is actually higher in college than it'll be in the WNBA because of all the endorsements and everything else available to her.
She's killing it. Good for her.
She's a great player, man.
How do they hear you?
So I'm at tclub.team, tclub.team. Billy's been known to find it from time to time. And Billy, I know that's out you lurking, and Billy's tried to hack us a time or two as we've gone in on Vandy Sports, but it's all good. Tonight, the Vols play a team that they're a 34-point favorite against in Georgia Southern. So they finally have a bye game. They've had 5 quad one basketball games so far, and maybe another one on the way with NC State Saturday for some reason in San Antonio. The game's going to tip off around 10:30 Eastern, which means, George, I'm going to be on around 12:45 Eastern with our Tennessee basketball post-game show, our Garza Law post-game show. I might draft Kelly. See if Kelly wants to help me out with that. Kelly, jump on, talk some hoops. Midnight your time, Kelly. What you think?
Now, Tony, sorry.
Now, let me
be
say
honest with
this, Tony. If Billy gets out of hand,
right,
you let me know. I will take care of it, and whatever I can't take care of, believe me, Kelly can.
Well, and I don't want to point anything out about that open, but Watson Brown was ahead of Kelly in the open. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Did you notice that?
They can't let him go.
I'm not trying to start anything. I mean, he's a good-looking man.
George can't let him go. George cannot let it go.
Kelly, I'm not trying to start anything here, but that's the first thing that caught my eye was, there's my man Watson Brown. There's my man.
Your grandfather.
I thought about that, Tony. I thought about that too, but I didn't want to bring it up, man. I'm at least in the open. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they just can't let him go.
Progress.
And in all honesty, I don't even get a picture in the damn thing.
George, you're the straw that stirs the drink. But when Billy goes like this, look, you know that kid's a star. When Billy did that number, I said, man, that's so natural. Send the kid to Hollywood. It's incredible.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
Is awful. That is awful. Tony, you are the best. EAGLES. You better get him a win soon.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
See you.
Bye.
See you.
Oh man, he's a piece of work. Love having Tony Basilio on. Okay, so much for the economics lesson for today. We're scrapping it. Ohtani's got $68 million a year deferred. It's crazy.
Good for him.
We'll talk more about it in the future. Ohtani has money. He's got big bucks. You want a loan? Don't come to me. Go to Ohtani. However, I'll make you money tonight. And that'll come up next.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Bart Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458, or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
Preds host the Flyers tonight, 7 o'clock over at Bridgestone. Tennessee in action on the hardwood against Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern this year, 0-9. So probably won't be super competitive.
Don't we review? Don't we review first?
Yes, we do have to review
Okay.
first. Got to get this.
We have a little problem there.
Yeah, a little cutout there. My bad. Got to get to.
Kelly, do you have any thoughts as you watch
I'm
this?
just saying, I'm sitting here, I'm like, what's going on? Is Billy having a stroke or a seizure or something? What's going on? I mean, I'm sitting here waiting for somebody to say something. Billy, you're supposed to review. I mean, I'm starting to worry about you.
That's administrative error there.
Oh, my bad. Okay. I thought you might have been having a young man stroke.
All of a sudden, that record's getting a little tighter.
It is getting a little tighter. I've noticed that myself. So let's just say that last night was not a good night for plaster bet of the day.
Awful night.
I don't need – see, that's exactly what Kelly is talking about, is your attempt to pile on. Kelly, that's unacceptable.
Totally unacceptable.
I don't get an opinion.
He's not.
No.
Yeah, no. You're the run of the litter. I can't wait. That's going to be your new deal. You're the run of the litter there, Billy.
As my dad used to say, children are to be seen and not heard.
Relax.
Correct.
Okay, so it hit me early in the third quarter. My God, the Titans aren't going away. And then they almost did. But, boy, I give them a lot of credit for the way they came storming back. They got a little help from Miami in clock management. I have no idea what the Dolphins were thinking. That was dumb. They weren't.
They weren't thinking. No.
And the truth of it is, my Packers selection, which was a tease to a pick'em or -1, so they took the lead with like a minute 50 to play, 22-21. But you never felt like Green Bay was going to win that game. The Giants were the better team.
DeVito drove right down the field.
He sure did. So we need a win. Where do we go for it?
The
You're
Preds.
darn tootin' we do. Preds tonight at home against Philly. Kelly, I have confidence.
Okay, good. You're going, I'm sure. You're going to be sitting in your seat that you sit for 40 years.
I'll be there. Yes. Yes, I will.
I know you will.
You know, and I'm fairly proud of that.
You're a man out on the town all the time, aren't you there, George?
Not really, Kelly. It's kind of
just
a dull life.
The Green Hills Corner Pub. Is that where you're at?
Well, it's where I was last night. Thank you for asking. I enjoyed my time there. You should join us. You'd fit right in.
Where is that? Where is that in? Like me and my wife go to the Green Hills Grill. How far is that from the Green Hills Grill?
It's block away.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, your wife could find it, but your sense of direction, you'd probably end up in Hermitage.
Absolutely. If I don't put it in my phone, I will get lost.
Yeah, we got to work on that. Got to do better.
Sorry.
Okay. Good show tomorrow. Join us. Kelly, behave until then.
I'll try. And Billy, go take an aspirin, man. In case you're feeling heart palpitations or something, go take an aspirin.
I'll go get me some.
Okay. Work on that. We'll see all of you tomorrow.
See you.